ad is your offer. So
Okay.
when you've got a strong offer that people are like, whoa, this is actually the thing that I would be interested in, then that's a big part of the equation. So there's um, one way of looking at an ad is that you've got like the three phases of an ad. So there's the hook, there's the story, and there's the close, or the hook, the um, the story, and the call to action. But the idea is that, like, when you have a good offer, your hook and the offer can actually be the same. Um, they don't have to be that much different. It could be asked as a question, or it could be delivered as a promise, but the hook and the offer just stay the exact same, more times than not. So after that, it's like, the story part is you essentially building belief for the person that what I'm claiming is real, it's true, and here's all the logical and emotional reasons as to why that is the case. So there's the hook, the story, or the body, and then the final thing is you have the call to action, which is, here's my invitation for you to come and join me. So I'd either put like a comment, or to tell them to comment, or tell them to click the link, go to the next page. Personally, for me, in my experience with ads, it's like I much prefer to get people to comment. Why? Because then it adds social proof to the ad, especially on social media or interest media. Like the ad then could have hundreds of people's comments on there saying, send me the information, send me the information, send me the information. As soon as people see that, whoa, there's like people that are interested in this might be something worthy of looking at, then
So, like, for example, you mean like this, you say comment B2 first for something.
yeah, exactly. Comment. And when you say that, so the trick with the call to action is like it wants to be something that is empowering to the person, that they feel like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So one that really worked well for me back when I was running my ads was, we had an ad where at the end of it, it was all about breaking free from the 9 to 5 system, becoming an entrepreneur. So at the end of it, I was like, if you want to break free from the chains of mental slavery and like really step into your world of entrepreneurship, comment the word break free right now, and I'll send you some information. And then we just got loads of break free comments where people were like, yeah, I want to break free. That's exactly what I want to do. But it was all relevant to the message that I was saying. If I had just said, yeah, just send me a DM, comment DM below, it wouldn't have been as impactful, you know? So there is an art to the call to action as well. But that's something that you can get creative within. And this is the idea now, is that like you've been given all the core components. You've got the ingredients, is what I'm saying. You've got the ingredients with the offer. You've got the ingredients with the target audience. You've got the ingredients with the components and the anatomy of the ad. Now it's actually about how can you actually start using your creativity to put that message together so that it captures attention, it holds attention, and it monetizes attention. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's really it when it comes to like how you actually construct an ad. But as I was saying, there's the top of the funnel, there's the middle of the funnel, and then there's the bottom of the funnel. So in the beginning, a lot of people make the mistake of doing what I've done, and it's what most marketers will do. They'll spend like 80% of their time on the bottom of the funnel, which is, let me just get leads for my product. But when you do that, then you've got the coldest audience who are the least relevant, because you haven't built an audience first that will be coming through. So either one of two things that will happen: you'll have a higher cost per lead, or you will have less leads, or you'll have less quality leads. right? So we don't want any of those things. We want to have higher quality leads. We want to have more leads, and we want to have the lowest cost per lead as well. And the way that you increase those numbers is by making sure that you do follow the process of starting with 80% top of the funnel, then focusing on the middle and the bottom of the funnel after you have really been able to get some results with the top of the funnel marketing. So the difference would be when you're doing top of the funnel marketing, all you're doing is when it's saying to comment as a call to action and the message, it's not an offer, which is for them to buy your product, but it's an offer for them to just gain value in their life, for them to start thinking of something a different way, or to start doing something different, giving them, here's the 5 different ways that you can do X, Y, and Z to help you in your life. For your specific offer, it could be, here's how you can level up in your career without having to necessarily go back to uni. And I start educating people around that. I start giving value. I start building this audience, letting them see me as the authority, but also connecting with them. Because as I was saying, there's the 3 R's that you want to relate to people. Your content wants to be resonant, and it also wants to be something that's relevant.
So my content has to be relevant. What was the first 2?
Relevant, relatable, and resonant.
Okay, cool.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's like, okay, all you've got to do is you've got to come up with a few ideas as to what will work for an ad. Now, in the delivery for an ad, what I've personally learned works the best, because there's levels to the game, and the people who not only are more experienced and have a lot more confidence and a lot more ad budget, the way that they'll advertise will be, they'll go on YouTube, high budget, and it's like a 30-minute ad. And it's epic, because by the end of it, person is just so bought into the idea that they'll buy something straight away, and it could be like a £2,000 package for the entire year. So that's the higher level of marketing and ads. But the complete opposite of that is, if you're just getting started out and you want to generate leads, then you can do it by having short form content, which could be a 15-second video. And even like at the bare beginnings of it, I remember what I was getting taught was just to even have a picture, right? Like a poster. But the reality is that the closer that you can get towards the ideal, which is a 30, 40-minute video, highest quality, cinematic, and really builds belief and conviction throughout the entire thing, the closer that you can get towards that quickest, then the less work that you have to do in terms of selling afterwards, because they're pre-sold before they actually come through. Because at the end of the day, every ad is simply a VSL, right? A video sales letter. But more times than not, when people are getting started out with their funnels, the ad, if it's a video, is a very small, terrible VSL more times than not. Because it's not exactly building belief for the person. It's not like shifting any, it's not like doing a lot of major selling, but they do more selling on the back end outside of the social media platform. But if you can do more of that on the platform, then they'll come to you pre-sold. And the beauty of that is that rather than having to spend hours and hours on the phone calls, having conversations with people, they'll be just like buying your offer, lead magnets upfront. So speaking of lead magnets, this is another thing that is something that you want to be coming up with too, because if you just had a really good lead magnet, then leads gravitate towards that. So that strengthens the ad. So you could have a great ad in terms of the delivery of it and the message and call to action, everything. Like, you've sold it well, you said the words nice. But if you don't actually have a lead magnet that people want to use, then you're limiting how good the ad can be. So the question then is, okay, well, what are good examples of lead magnets? What could be a good lead magnet?
Oh, like a guide, a checklist, what else is there? Like a freebie or something.
Yeah. A guide is definitely one thing that people do. Checklists, something that's for free.
Yeah.
Sometimes not all lead magnets have to be free, by the way.
Okay.
Sometimes you can have paid lead magnets. And the good thing about paid lead magnets is that if somebody does pay for your lead magnet, then you can tell straight away that, oh, this is a serious individual. And when you have loads of leads coming through, you might not think that it's beneficial in the beginning. You're just thinking, I just want to get the maximum. But if you have a little bit of friction that's added once you start having a lot more leads, then it allows you to sort and sift between the ones that are genuinely serious versus the ones that are just kind of there for other reasons, to waste your time or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say that there's like 4 different ways that you can deliver a lead magnet, and I'll quickly share my screen over here so you can see this as well. So you can see?
Yeah.
So there's 4 different ways that I've got over here. There's software, information, services, and physical products, right? And like you said, there's the checklist that you can do. A guide was another thing. So this is all information things: guides, reports, trainings. And information is a very popular one that people will do. So that's something that you can offer. Like, you can offer it in the video form. You can do a case study. I mean, you probably won't have that many case studies right now, but even your own story can be a case study that you offer to people, which could come in the form of a training. Another thing that you can do, if you're going to be helping people in a service way as well, sometimes giving them a free taster of that service is a good way that you can do it. You can give them an audit, consultation call, strategy call. Here's some things that can work well too. So Osman, in the beginning, his lead magnet was, he had a free trial. And after they tried the free trial, then he would just literally bring them on board to doing the whole thing. Now he's going into high ticket. He's shifting his lead magnet, and he's no longer doing that, but he's going to do a free consultation. And after the consultation, then the idea is that they're going to go into his program. But what I would say about the lead magnets is that, like, you can do one simple lead magnet, or you can start thinking to yourself, how can I combine the most amount of lead magnets into one? And how can I do it in a way where I have like what's called the low cost of fulfillment, meaning that it's not going to take too much of my time, right? So let's say, for example, I was going to do the consultation method. I'd be thinking to myself, okay, I'll do the consultation, but I'll also somewhere in my emails or in messages say, would you like to watch a case study video too? Because the case study doesn't take any time away from me. So the more free lead magnets that I can offer, the more value the person experiences up front, and the more likely they are to buy high ticket. Because the rule with high ticket, I'm not sure if you remember this, but it's something like somebody has to watch or engage with 7 hours of content up front before they become a high ticket buyer. That's usually the case. So it's either 7 hours of phone calls with you, or 7 hours of video footage, but it's usually about 7 hours, and that's for a high ticket. Where high ticket is anything I'd say from like 5,000 and above. Mid ticket, the rule would be not necessarily 7 hours of content, but maybe like 1 to 2 hours. So yeah, that's something to consider there as well. But if I quickly share my screen again, like there's basically three main ways that you can attract quality leads, guide them to your core offer with a lead magnet. So the first way is to give a sample, and that's just to let them experience the value that you're going to offer in the main program. Because if it's a really good thing, then them just experience it, they'll be like, I've got the taste and I want to have more. Another one that you can do is what's called a problem reveal. So that's where you expose the problem that they have with some form of diagnosis. So that could be like an audit, a website diagnostic. Sometimes I see a lot of like software websites where they will have some sort of tool where you can literally take a look at how much time that you're wasting on something, how much you're losing by not having something. So that can expose the hidden problem. And then the final one is that you give them the first small win, like step 10 of many, but that will then naturally open up a new problem. So imagine if like your lead magnet was something like, I'm going to help you get the exam result somehow, like by offering them the guides, the PDFs, the workbooks, whatever it was. They get the exam result and then they're like, but now I need the interview training. So if your core offer was the interview training, this is just an example, but like if your core offer was the interview training, naturally they would come to you because you helped them with step 1, but that they're going to come to you for step 2 and 3. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions so far?
Sorry, can I take that down again?
Oh, yeah, one sec. There we go. There you go.
Thank you. Yep, done.
Sweet. Well, yeah. So as I was saying, having an actual good lead magnet is one aspect of making ads that will generate the best results with leads, lead quality, lead volume, everything like this. The other aspect is the messaging and distribution itself, in terms of what message you decide to put out there and how you distribute that message. So, as we said, the message is your belief that you give to people within the offer itself. It's connecting with them through the relatability, the resonance, and the relevance. And the final thing, I think this is what you've already done a little bit, is putting out content that kind of showcases your company brand, so that people know that this person is coming from a place of authority. Like this is an established brand, right? So what I'd be saying for you right now is that if you really want to be able to get the best results with the leads, you want to be considering, okay, first of all, what resources do you have? So with ad budget, time, what are we looking at right now?
Ad budget, like maybe £5 a day.
Yeah. And with time?
What do you mean by time?
Like how much time that you can personally put into your content marketing?
Maybe like an hour a day.
Okay. So you have a lot more time right now than you have money,
Yeah.
which is fine. Everyone starts in that place usually. But £5 a day, initially, what I'd be saying is that for the first, few weeks, this is kind of time where what I would personally do rather than just going and spending money, the first month, just put some budget aside, right? So rather than it being like you start off and you've got £150 in the first month, which would be £5 a day, save that money, put in the time, and then so the next month, you're going to put in £300. You double your ad budget, right? And so the first month, the question is what we're going to do with our time. And what we're going to do is we're just literally going to be making lots of ads, making lots of content. The more that you can make, the better it's going to be. And when you are making ads, there's like 4 main things that you want to be getting good at in order to make an ad that will perform very, very well. And as long as you master these key areas, like the ad will get a lot of engagement and it'll get a lot of attention. So the main things that you want to write down with this, I'm just gonna pull up some of my notes so I can refer back to this. Where has it gone? Damn, I don't know where I've saved it. Okay, but I remember a few of them off the top of my head. So the first thing you want to write down is ideation. Okay, ideation. What do you think that means?
Something to do with your ideas.
Simple. Yeah. You've actually got to have a good idea for your ad. So the main 4 things that your ad wants to be, if no matter whether it's top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, whatever, it wants to have these 4 things. So first thing is it wants to be shareable. Something where, it's not just something that's private consumption and they watch it and move on. But it's something of which when a person watches it, they're like, yo, I have to go and share that with someone else. That was either hilarious or like, have you seen this thing that it exists? A lot of the new AI ads that people are putting out there where it's like, yo, have you seen this thing? They're making people out of AI and somebody will be feeling the compulsion to go and share that. That's a very core component of what makes a good ad is a shareable idea, right? And usually the thing that will make a person share an ad is when, subconsciously they believe that by me sharing this ad, it will actually elevate my status with this person, like social status. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it wants to be something that has viral potential. Okay. So if it's got viral potential, then it's something of which grabs people's attention. And if you think about it, like it's not about grabbing the attention of everybody on the planet, but it's about grabbing the attention of your target audience. That's the goal. So let's say there's billions of people on the planet, 8 billion people on the planet, but your target audience, there might only be 1 million people. So if you're a good marketer, the goal is to grab the attention of the 1 million people in your target audience. And if you can do it organically, then it means that you don't have to spend any money. That's great. But let's say you can only grab like 10,000 people's attention in your target audience with a little bit of paid advertising, then you can maybe reach 100,000 or 1 million people's attention in your target audience. So essentially, the more viral that the ad is itself without any money, the less that you have to spend. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So just with these two to begin with, how do you think you'll be able to consistently come up with shareable and viral ideas for your content, for your ads?
And maybe I can look at other pages and see what they do for their content.
Which pages?
Like ESL pages, English as a second language pages on Instagram, and see what they do for their content. But that's not
That's
an ad.
not just that, but it's not what I would do, because I know that most businesses are terrible with marketing. So, and it's not just like your niche in particular, it's just business in general. So rather, this is what, like, when you start studying some of the most successful marketers in advertising, well, people like Brendan Kane, who does the advertising for personal brands like Taylor Swift and, you know, musicians and the big ones out there, is that he isn't looking at businesses. What he's looking at for his ideas is he's looking at the content creators and seeing what is social media favoring right now in content in general. Because if you go down that route, then you'll actually find better quality than you will if you went to a business. Because the skills that business have is more so skills in terms of product creation. It's skills in terms of delivery. It's skills in terms of hiring, employing, and scaling. Whereas a content creator, all they do every single day is just make content that people enjoy consuming. So they're the chefs. So you want to go to the chefs and see what are they cooking that people are eating.
Yeah.
Right? So you can think about, like, okay, so there's so many different major content creators out there right now, but my advice here would be the creators that you want to emulate in terms of their virality and the shareability that they've got. They want to be creators that you personally feel have a similar kind of personality to you. Because let's say, for example, somebody's going viral and you don't see yourself as being a very loud, extroverted, that kind of person, but the one that you follow is someone who is like KSI, or, you know, one of these guys that's like shouting down the mic. Like, you don't want to go and replicate their content because it will be disingenuous. But if you find content creators who are more similar to you in terms of how you show up, maybe you're more of a reserved person and calm. Like, one of the things that worked for me, knowing that I wasn't really that loud kind of person, one of the things that worked for me was like having ads where I didn't even have myself speaking in it. I was just pointing at stuff, pointing at words. But I actually studied. It wasn't just a case of me thinking, okay, this is my personality, I'm going to put out an ad. I went and did the research first and looked at the people who were killing it by just pointing at stuff. What were they doing? What music were they playing? How was the video recorded? What kind of facial expressions were being used? And I really did my best to, you know, decipher, okay, what makes this ad something that will actually grab attention? Because there are 7 triggers of attention, scientifically speaking. And as long as you nail all 7 of these, then every single time, like, you're going to get people's eyeballs on your ads. So the 7 triggers of attention are as follows. We have number 1, which is automaticity. Okay. And
Sorry, what was that?
automaticity. So
Okay.
it's not like automation. I'm gonna see if I can pull them up so you can just write them down as I'm speaking about this. So 7 triggers of attention. Um, Here we go. Can you see?
Yes.
Awesome. So first one, as I was saying, it's the automaticity. It's using specific sensory cues like colors, symbols, and sounds to capture attention based on the automatic reaction to certain stimuli. Um, so it's basically knowing what people are naturally gravitated towards that is in their biology almost. So, for example, people always say that sex sells, and it's true, it does. If you wanted to grab attention, then a person could just rely on that. But it's about who are you actually getting the attention of and why. So rather than just using any trigger to grab attention, you want to be thinking more so about what will automatically grab the attention of my target audience. So a good example of that would be if you're targeting parents, then you would ideally want to include a cute baby in there and having fun with a parent straight away in the visual, because that would automatically grab that person's attention. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other things are colors. I like to look at symbols too. So I use a lot of symbols in my content, symbology. Like I target the sovereign individual. So I have a lot of, thrones, kings, like that kind of symbology that's put in there too. So symbolism is another thing that will bypass a person's conscious mind and just go straight to the subconscious and make them feel like, why do I feel so gravitated towards this person? It's because of the symbols that are being used. So automaticity is great. Framing is another one. And framing is adapting to or changing somebody's view of the world so that they pay more attention to you. So it's all about stepping into their dreams, their lens, their perspective. And it's either changing that perspective or it's about stepping into what already exists for them. So if they believe that, for example, the best way to improve your career is through hiring a tutor, then you could either step into their world and be like, yeah, I agree, or you can change that lens by saying, I know that this is what everybody believes, that tutoring is the best way to improve your career, but what's even better than tutoring is having a consultant. That's like a way that you can frame things. Then there's the third one, which is disruption. So disruption is about violating people's expectations to change what they pay attention to. So it's just like starting off the ad straight away by saying something that seems so obvious in that market, but you're going against it and saying it's not the truth. You're saying the opposite is the truth. So let's say that everybody believes in your target audience that the best way to win in business is to have a mentor that helps you out. And you just start off the ad by saying, mentorship doesn't work anymore. It's broken. Like straight away, you've just violated people's expectations by stating that truth. And then you go and explain why. But you grab their attention initially because it was unexpected. Make sense?
Yeah.
Then there is reward. So reward is leveraging people's motivations for intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. So if you, for example, said like you've got a great lead magnet and you're about to give like thousands of pounds of value away for free or for a major discount, that reward is a way that you can grab people's attention. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reputation. So this is what I'm seeing a lot right now, especially with AI generated content, is that now anyone can just literally make an AI that will either fake credibility through having an AI that is like on a podcast and they're explaining, all this expert information as the guest on a podcast, or it's an AI that's on stage and, they're saying everything that they're saying on stage as if it's an expert saying it on stage. Or they are, using celebrities who are not the celebrity saying the thing, but it's just one of their favorite celebrities that is stating what they want their audience to believe. So, I mean, the ethics of AI marketing and selling, nobody is teaching this, but you probably want to consider that a little bit. But the reason why reputation is so important is because it's way more important to be influential than to be an influencer. Do you know the difference between the two?
Yeah, influencers are not really influential.
So what's influential?
Influential is like groundbreaking. I don't
How
know
do you
how to I don't know how to describe it. Like
Okay.
influence. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. You know that they're not the same. An
Yeah.
influencer is anyone who has a lot of people that are giving them attention. But an influential person still has a lot of attention, but more so, it's not measured by how many people they've got, it's measured by how much the people who are listening to them will do what the person of influence will tell them to do.
Yeah.
So the example of that in terms of numbers would be an influencer might have 1 million followers, they might have 1 million views, but the person on the video says, buy my product, and they get no product sales. Whereas somebody who's influential may have 1,000 views, may have a same instruction that they give, which is buy my product, and 10 people buy. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So ideally, you want to be both. Like, you don't want to be just influential without being an influencer. Why? Because the audience of people that you have potentially to be influential to is going to be small. So if you're influential and there's only like 2-3 people who are listening to you, then it's nowhere near as impactful as being influential and there's thousands of people listening to you as well. But yeah, the reputation is something that can actually grab people's attention as well. So whilst you might not right now like have a lot of credibility in your market, this is where you can start getting creative and thinking, who can you start leveraging in terms of what they say in their content to then put your message across more strongly? Who's infamous in their audience? Who's influential in your target audience? Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Then there's mystery. So mystery is another one that can grab attention. I like to do this all the time. I'm just asking these questions to my target audience, of which they don't necessarily know the answer to, but when I'm saying it, it causes a little bit of uncertainty and suspense, but then it makes them want to know the answer. So they pay attention, like, I don't know, but it sounds good. Like if I started off an ad and I said, what if there was a way where you didn't have to start a business online, you didn't have to quit your job, and you could still make 3 to 5K a month and travel the world? To someone who is in that audience and that's desirable for them, they would want to continue listening. But it also causes a bit of uncertainty because I just genuinely don't know the answer. So the mystery is also another way you can grab attention. And then finally, it's acknowledgement, which is fostering a deeper connection because people tend to pay attention to those who provide them with validation and understanding. So if you're able to acknowledge your target audience by not just speaking to the title that you describe them as the ones that are in jobs or employees, 30-year-olds, whatever you want to say is the demographic, but you start being able to speak to who they are in their psychographic, meaning you speak to their values, you speak to their vision, you speak to their desires, their fears. When you speak to the Fred that we spoke about before, then they'll truly feel heard on like a soul level. And that's when people will really feel that depth of connection. But the acknowledgement, if you do that at the beginning of an ad, you call them out and you start speaking directly to that, they'll feel like, yeah, this person has popped up on my page and they're speaking directly to me. I'm so glad that I got this person that the algorithm has given me. That's the kind of feedback that you'll be getting there if you're doing acknowledgement well. So, do these make sense? The 7 triggers of attention?
Yes.
Yeah. If you can like really understand what causes attention, then it no longer becomes this thing which is like guesswork. It's a science now. And all you're doing is you're utilizing your creativity and your artistry to get the results predictably. So have you got all those down? Can I stop sharing?
Yeah, you can stop sharing.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's go back to the ad and what makes it the perfect ad. So we've got ideation, we've got shareability, virality. You know now, to get an idea, you can go to the content creators who are like you, not like your business, but like you. And you go to them and you start making this viral content that you can personally duplicate yourself, that you can start making yourself, and you start putting the ideas down, right? That's for the virality, the shareability. The resonance is about not just people saying, I get it, a mild agreement, and they're just nodding along, but it's more like you have what's called identity activation. And people are commenting essays. People are feeling like called up to what it is that you're sharing because there's such a level of resonance between what you are saying and what they're feeling. And so that's really what that resonance is defined as, is like the energetic alignment and frequency match between what you're putting out there and what they are actually feeling for themselves. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So then the question is, how can you make resonant content or come up with ideas that will be resonant to your target audience?
I think it has to speak to I think it has to speak to their needs.
Why do you say that?
Like you mentioned their fears as well. So I think it has to speak to that, to have content that's resonant. I'm probably wrong.
Well, if we look at what level 5 would be, so I think you've hit the nail on the head there a little bit, because you've said, we know that level 1 is just the surface level connection, right? And it's where somebody just mildly agrees to what's being said. So what would be the example of a surface level way of speaking to them? Like, how would you speak to them on a surface level? What would you talk about?
On a surface level, will probably just be like basic things about the exam, for example, struggling with this underwriting part and just explaining how to make it better for them. I think that would just be surface level, just talking about the exam, not really resonating with their needs or wants.
Mm. And you feel like the needs and wants would be more deeper.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a good question. with an actual person, what is the most surface level part of a person, and what's the most deepest layer of a person?
Um, I think the most surface level of a person is like what they like or dislike. That's really surface level.
Preferences.
And yeah, and the what did you say? Deepest part?
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
closest part to their authenticity.
I think it would be their hmm, like what something that means so much to them, like something that touches their soul.
Mm, their soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you speak to a person's soul in your content?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I'm not I'm not sure how I could speak to their soul. Um maybe like let me think about it. Hmm. Maybe talk about things that they may feel stuck in, like things that they can't break through from, like with their learning English, like just talk about the things they're trying to break through. Because some of these learners are have been let down in the past, can feel stuck when they're learning new vocabulary or trying to improve their skills. So maybe they just feel stuck and let down and trying to overcome their fears.
Yeah. And I think if you were to speak to that, you'd get to level 3, because that would
Okay.
be felt connection, which is they feel seen at the level of experience and emotion. And by the way, if you even manage to get to level 3 and you have like a viral piece of content that is shareable, that's still pretty good with advertising. Like a lot of advertisers make money without doing that. But I'm showing you like how to be great from the very beginning. You know, it's like if I was teaching you a sport, I don't want to teach you the technique of what the amateurs play like. I want to give you how professionals move so that you can learn that and then start, um, working on the right things from the very beginning. So level 3 is great, but there is something more, which is at level 5. And the difference between the level 3 and the level 5 is that you're not just speaking to their emotions and what they feel, you're actually speaking to who they are and who they're becoming. It's identity activation. Soul, as you said. So breaking it down, because like speaking to their soul, it's like, how do I do that practically? Well, first of all, what you want to be determining is what are the actual I call it the meta values of a person, because you've got core values of a person and then there's meta values of a person. And so the core values of a person is what consciously they see of themselves, meaning that they're aware that that's who they are. They're aware that that's who they want. And they can change their aspect. They can be a chameleon. You know how people say that you can see a person who's like one way to their friends, and then they're another way to their colleagues, and then they're another way to their parents,
Yeah.
right? That's not the soul, because the soul can't change. That's the person who is putting their surface level version across to the world. So that would be displaying their core values. But the meta values are the values that are unconscious to them, meaning that it's beneath the surface and it makes up the soul. It's like 95% of who they actually are. It's where the main power source comes from. So it's like when we were going through, the messages before, I was speaking to your soul then, because we bypassed the conscious, we went to the subconscious, and we were like, okay, this is why I've not been taking action. It's because I have been still processing emotionally what's been going on with my parents from when I was young, you know? So if you have that as the power source, then you will resonate with someone else who's speaking about those things in their content, right? So it's the similar thing here with the meta values, about looking at what would be the unconscious values of people that would resonate and connect with you, right? Because the thing is that there's three brands, right? So you've got your personal brand, your product brand, and your company brand. And somebody most likely will not have the soul connection to your company brand or your product brand the same way that they will to your personal brand, which is why there's the saying of people buy people,
Yeah.
you know? So knowing that, it's like, okay, how can you essentially decipher, what are some of your meta values, unconscious values for yourself? And then looking at how the audience that you're going to be sharing your content to will probably mirror some of your core values, because you'll connect with people who are just like you.
Exactly.
Especially when you're the personal brand, right? So if you felt like, okay, the people you're targeting are not like you, then somebody else has to be the personal brand, and somebody else has to connect with them from their soul to another person's soul. But from what I understand, it's like you're going to be the one doing the marketing, you're the one doing the personal branding. So it's got to be your soul connecting with their soul. And as long as you find out what are some of your meta values, and then you put that out throughout your content, then people will truly resonate with it, because you are coming at it from a place of authenticity, and people will feel that. The right people will feel that.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions about the resonance, or
No questions about the resonance.
Okay, great. The next one is targeted, which, to be honest, it's very similar to resonance, but you could resonate with people who are not in your target audience, which is fine. But the goal is to be resonant to your target audience. So yeah, like you can either have, as it says over here, generic, anyone can relate, no clear audience, or bullseye precision, feels like one specific person is being spoken to directly. So yeah, that's the four things there. So we've got ideation, right? You got to first find your ideas. And the more ideas that you can get initially, the better, right? I'd literally be in the first month, you want to be looking for like...
Can you go to the end of targeted so I can take that down?
Sure.
Level 5, please. Or level 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Awesome. So we've got the first aspect done, which is ideation, right? And as I was just about to say, there's a goal that you want to place for yourself in your first month of advertising is how many ideas can you come up with, right? And the main thing is to just come up with as many as possible. This is where the creativity comes in, but you know how to find these ideas now. You research people who are like you, who are going viral, who are having content that's shareable, they're resonating with their audience, and it's targeted as well. You go and simply copy and paste. And I would literally go on social media, and this is where scrolling is healthy. You're going on social media and you're scrolling for the people who have got these four components to them, and you're saving all of their posts for yourself, right? Saving the ones that resonate, save the ones that are going viral, shareable, targeted. And once you start sharing all those posts, then you will have a bank of them, and you can just literally write them down and replicate. and no one cares if you stole their idea. No one cares, right? Main thing is that when you add yourself into it, it has originality just because it's you,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So no point trying to reinvent the wheel. No point whatsoever. It's about making sure that you've got a solid idea. Now, the next thing after ideation is production. Okay, so the main reason why people fail is because they have a bad idea. Okay, after there being a bad idea, sometimes people have good ideas, but it's just not executed well. So it's important that you have good production. Right. So I usually say to people, if you're going to make an ad, it's worth making a video ad. Why? Because like it's costs you the same amount to put it on and post it on socials, but you have the potential to gather more attention. You have the potential to build more belief. With a photo, however, it's like you have to get your message across in a second, in a split second. And unless it's pure artwork, where the concept of a great portrait in art is that people will, as they're looking at it, be able to see layers and layers of depth and admire it for a long period of time. Unless it's like that in terms of the artwork, then people aren't going to look at it as long and give it as much attention as they would with it being a video. So whether it's a picture or a video, you've got to get good at what's called either photography or cinematography. And level one of this is like you've got bad lighting, poor audio, messy frame, and the viewers just leave instantly because they feel like it's amateur. They feel like this is difficult to watch. Could you imagine like watching a Netflix movie and it was bad lighting, poor audio, blurry, messy frame? You'd be like, I can't watch this. Right. So people now have built up what I call this tolerance in terms of, or not necessarily tolerance, but it's like the opposite of that. They've got least amount of tolerance for bad cinematography, and that means that the quality of cinema, the quality of content, is just always having to increase in terms of the lighting, the audio. Now, you don't have to go and make like a studio footage video because sometimes that's not resonant. Sometimes it feels like, oh, it's too scripted or whatever. But if you've got all of these things, the shareability, the variety, the resonance, and the target audience, then how you can improve your content now is like, actually having better cinematography. So level 5 would be it's visually compelling. It's cinematic, it's stylized, it's unmistakably you. The frame communicates leadership even before you speak. People are like, yeah, this person's a pro. And in order to have that, like you don't have to go and buy tons of lighting, cameras. Literally, with the current phone that you've got, the iPhone that you've got, you are able to do a selfie video, but make sure that you do it at the right time using sunlight, right? So if you go out and you do it in the middle of the day, like 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., then when you're making content like that, people will click off it because it's either too dark or you've done it in the middle of the day when the sun is too high. But if you do it at sunrise, sunset, then you've done it at the perfect time because the sun gives you such a beautiful natural light. And as long as you make sure the sun is in front of you instead of behind you when you're recording, then it literally looks like, this is cinema quality. So that's how I would do it. Ads perform better usually with better lighting, which is usually at that time and outdoors in that place. Another thing with cinematography is like you have the actual shots. So that's like, what kind of shot do you want to use? And a very boring shot would be like a shot where, you're using a tripod and it's like miles away from where you are. To be honest, that's not a boring shot if it's done intentionally. But it might not necessarily be as intimate as what it would be if you've got the video that's close to you. So, what I'd be saying is that you want to be intentional with how you do your shots. And sometimes I see people who the shot represents where the target audience either wants to be or where they would hate to be. Because if you do that, like you're actually sharing the dream of the person. Like you're about to go on holiday, for example. You know, like if you had a shot there and your target audience by buying your offer will be able to experience more freedom in terms of holidays and stuff, then that would be a good shot to do. You know, to do
Yeah.
it there somewhere. So yeah, there's something to think about with cinematography. And again, what I would do is I would just do a little bit of like YouTube research on understanding the basics with lighting. And you can ask YouTube a question such as, how can I have cinematic footage using an iPhone and natural light? Because there are kids who are doing that right now, like, and they're doing it great. So there's no reason why you can't as well. You don't have to get like crazy cameras and learn so much. But if you just watch a couple of videos, you'll see that it's possible, and you'll see the difference between total amateur versus more cinematic. That's one thing in production. Here's another one. It's presence. Okay, so we understand cinematography. Just to confirm, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions or?
No questions.
Okay, now there's presence. So if you're in an ad and you feel nervous, you feel withdrawn, you've got low energy, feels like you don't want to be there, no one's going to want to follow you. No one's going to want to watch the video. But if you feel like, you know what, I'm fully present, taking a few deep breaths before I've done it, and I'm confident to be in this shot, in this image, then your message will just land 10 times more. That will make you a lot more magnetic. So I recommend, you know, before doing any ads, like you do either a meditation or you do some breath work. That will just get you into the right mind frame and energy so that your content will resonate a lot more with your target audience by being present whilst filming. Got it?
Yeah.
Sweet. Then there's the delivery. So as you're delivering your content, it wants to be making sure that it's like you don't have filler words in there, it's clear, no rambling, not hard to follow. So this is something that, of course, in the post-production and editing, you can take things out. But if you can, in the filming, make it so that there is no rambling, no monotone, no filler words, and it's easy to follow, then the content becomes a lot more resonant, because people nowadays are becoming a lot more critical of edited content. So if you are editing, then people will be like, it's not perfect, so I don't want to watch it. Whereas if it's raw and it's real and it's just like delivered well, then people are like, yeah, this is awesome. So level 5 would be where I'd say it's electrifying, it's memorable. Your delivery carries a conviction that just moves people emotionally. You know, viewers are quoting you, they're mimicking your lines, or they feel personally spoken to as if this is the leader that I want to follow, you know? So that's the delivery. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the next one is structure. So structure is, like I said, you know, there's an anatomy for an ad. So you want to make sure that it follows a simple structure that I just gave, like the hook, the story, the close. That's like a really nice basic one. So that would be like level 4. But then level 5 is where you start adding in, you know, more open loops, micro payoffs, things like that, which kind of don't just grab people's attention in the beginning, but it grabs people's attention throughout. But I'd say for structure, as long as you got hook, story, close, like that's high level still, you know? So that's production. And those are the 2 main things. And then after that, this is where things get, I would say, a lot easier, because the making of the ad is the hardest thing. The idea and the production, definitely the hardest thing. The easier thing is to edit the ad, especially when you've already made a good ad. So when you're editing, you can edit to make sure that the pace is the right pace. You got polish so that it feels that there's no reason for why people can look at it and say, oh, it's not professional, I won't want to work with that person. Like everything just feels clean. That's what an edit can make in terms of polish. There's what I call a punch. So when it's punchy, then there are just certain things that happen, like special effects or There's transitions that happen in a way where people are like, whoa, this is dope. So sometimes, like I said, like you can make such a good ad, editing becomes obsolete. You don't even need to edit. And that's the goal, really. Make an ad that's so good that you don't need to edit. But if the ad could do with some editing as well to just add to it, then these are the things I'm considering. Progression, make sure that it's got seamless progression as well. And then finally is distribution, which is just choosing which platform is the right platform to put on and making sure that when you're putting it on the right platforms, it's like, for example, on YouTube, if I'm going to put an ad out on YouTube, then it's got to be landscape and it's got to be more, it doesn't have to be long form. I've seen a lot of short form ads on YouTube recently. But yeah, if it's on YouTube, like it has to be landscape. That's the main thing, unless it's on YouTube Shorts. So you can, on the ads manager or when you're posting your content, you can just either create multiple pieces of content for different platforms, one landscape version, one portrait version. And that way you can get the maximum reach. Because if you just do it on Instagram on one platform, then let's say you maximize it to getting 5,000 views. That same video on TikTok could have got 100,000 views, but you just don't know if you didn't post it there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So ideally, many platforms as possible where your target audience would be. I'd be thinking like, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. Those are some of the main 5. And you can post ads and content on all 5 of those platforms, So yeah, there's a platform posting. And with the posting, we've got making sure that you're actually doing it, and you're doing it pretty consistently is the main thing here. Like following a calendar rather than it just being posting randomly whenever. And then you want to push the content as well, meaning that when you post your content, like you share it on your story, or you post your content and you send people WhatsApp messages saying, go and share this to your friends, your network, because each individual that you have in your contact list, I don't know how many contacts you got on your phone, but each individual has like maybe 200 contacts that they have on their social media. So if you get them to post for you on your behalf and share it, and you push it out there, then that's great for distribution. And then final thing is persistence, making sure that you are reposting your content, you're repurposing your content, and you are sticking to it, continuing doing it as much as possible. So what I'd be saying right now, because there's a lot to take in there with getting good at the ads, if you can focus on just ideation to begin with and doing the work of getting 100 ads ideas that are shareable, viral, resonant, and targeted, writing them all down, writing what you like about it, like doing the study work necessary, then after that, we can start actually producing some of the content and getting some of your first ads together. But if you can get in a bank of 100 ads as ideas, then after that, we can produce 100 ads, 100 pieces of content, where in these pieces of content, like I said, like 80% of it just wants to be the top of the funnel, whereas 20% wants to be ads. So you're going to look in different places for the top of the funnel versus the ads. If you want to be searching for ads that are like viral ads, like you can be searching on Instagram, but there are some ad creators who they make really good viral ads. And you can search for those ads either through scrolling and you'll see that it'll say sponsored ad, or you can come to this website over here that's called Meta Ads Library, and you can just literally take a look at some of the ads that people are using right now that they're running. So we're in school right now, and school run a lot of ads, and you can just copy exactly what they're doing. Like here's an ad
You
over
don't
here.
actually need a following to grow on Skool. I know because I didn't have a following and I didn't run any ads. And a few months later, I'm now making over 10K a month, which is a pretty big deal. So now that Skool is $9, I don't know, it's even easier than when I did it. It really doesn't matter what community you start. Start an art one on water. That works too. Anything works.
See? So I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if that's AI. It might be. But I've seen quite a few of those people doing those ads where
Sorry,
they
am I getting this from Skool or from Facebook?
it's actually Meta. So this is Facebook ads library, but Skool
Oh, okay.
run on Meta.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay.
So that people go into Skool, they run ads on Meta, right?
Yeah.
So, this ad is an AI ad promoting Skool on Meta, the platform. So that's one example, and this is again like where you can get tons of ad ideas from people who are good advertisers. Like I know this is all run by Alex Hormozi and their team, so they're good advertisers. Then you also got people that are maybe not as big. Like this is Chris, who he's not as big as the advertiser as Alex Hormozi, just someone that I've looked at, and he's in here like got a bunch of ads that you can take inspiration from in terms of what he's doing. So it's all creators, all people who are actually running ads. You can take a look at what they're doing. Make sense?
Yeah, lovely.
So what I would do is like, if you have people that you see a good ad for, I'd be like, okay, that's a nice ad. I'd go to the Facebook ads library and look at all the other ads that they're running as well.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the homework for this session, is just literally come up with all the ad ideas, save the best ones, store them somewhere, and then 80 ad ideas for content, and you have 20 ideas for your lead generation ads. That's what I'd be saying.
Okay. Thank you so much.